Welcome to the many interpretations of Scutosaurus. Scutosaurus was a pariasaurian reptile that lived in the late Permian of what is now European Russia. They lived from around 259 to 252 million years ago. And they're pretty cool. They were large herbivorous animals they're very eye-catching. Like if you've ever seen art of them or any media depiction of them, they certainly stand out. They're incredibly rounded, covered in osteoderms, and just really cool looking. They are probably one of the more popular non-dinosaur reptiles out there because, of course, Scutosaurus is not a dinosaur. It lived several millions of years before the first dinosaur ever showed up. So this was a world that was populated by other kinds of animals that obviously predate the dinosaurs. Scutosaurus might also be incredibly popular because of the fact that it's often shown as Inostransavia food. Inostransavia was a large gorgonopsian that did exist with Scutosaurus, and more often than not, you'll see it eating Scutosaurus, which is most likely true. I'm sure the Scutosaurus would indeed get eaten by Inostransavia from time to time. Now, there's not a lot of media depictions out there, but we do have some very interesting ones to take a look at. Let's go ahead and do that. We will start off with the people that time forgot. Now, this is a pretty good start because when I initially looked at this, I'm like, oh yeah, that is definitely a Scutosaurus. And if I can tell what it's meant to be, especially in an older film like this being 1977, that's already a good start. Now, here's what it looks like. One major accuracy is the fact that it is incredibly bumpy. Scutosaurus is quite well known for being covered in osteoderms, which are bones that grow in the skin. If you don't know what osteoderms are, the scutes on the back of alligators and crocodiles are osteoderms as well. This portrayal is covered in them, and that's accurate. The bumpiness also extends down to the skull, which is also true. Just all around, Scutosaurus was a very jagged and bumpy looking reptile. It's so interesting. One inaccuracy I notice with this one, though, is the fact that its snout seems to be a little bit too thin and too long. Scutosaurus had a more robust and reduced snout. But aside from that, this is a pretty decent design and a pretty good start to the whole list. Next up is walking with monsters, and this is a good one. They have everything that I've mentioned beforehand, such as the fact that it does seem to have osteoderms on its back. Its skull seems to be incredibly bumpy, and quite notably, they do seem to have these really large cheek structures, something that Scutosaurus did have. And in addition to that, they have these structures on the lower jaw. Another thing that Scutosaurus had. One critique I have, though, is that it seems like their limbs are a bit too thin, at least their forelimbs. Scutosaurus and other pariasaurians had these really thick and robust forelimbs. All of their limbs were incredibly thick and robust. All of that was paired with the fact that they had a really large barrel chest, and they were just really rounded animals, basically. Again, I think the ones in Walking with Beasts have forelimbs that are a bit too thin. And maybe all around they might be a bit too thin in general, but they are still pretty decent portrayals. They also turn out to be Inostransavia food in this. Next up comes from Primeval. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I saw this design without the name Scutosaurus on the bottom, I don't think I'd be able to tell what it was because it doesn't look a lot like a Scutosaurus. For one, their limbs are incredibly thin and long. They're also held a lot more underneath the body, which is likely not true for Scutosaurus. The head shape is also not too terribly correct. Once again, the snout is a bit too long and a bit too thin. They also don't have really developed cheek structures like how Scutosaurus had. They also seem to be huge, like incredibly massive in the show. Scutosaurus was not a small creature by any stretch of the imagination, but it was not this big. Scutosaurus probably weighed more than a ton, but it was very stout. It was short. It was a short, really rounded and heavy animal. Definitely not taller than the average person, as it seems to be right here. But it has one of the most unique designs, and because of that, it certainly stands out. I will remember you, Scutosaurus from Primeval the show. I need to rewatch that show. I mean, I watched a few episodes when I was younger, but I remember nothing from it, except for the Inostransavia. That stuck with me. That one stuck with me. I will rewatch it though. Next up is Earth, the Making of a Planet, and yeah, good job. It just seems that most everything is here. It's very rounded, really stout, short, huge limbs. It's covered in osteoderms, and yeah, what else can I really say? I think they captured it quite nicely. Oh, and it appears to be Inostransavia food in this. Next up on our list is life on our planet. And this is when we start to get into really good territory. Like the designs that we're going to be seeing here are just really solid and very much remind me of Scutosaurus. I love this design. The skull is phenomenal. You have those cheek structures. It's really robust. The snout is reduced. This guy is covered in osteoderms. It has those really short and thick limbs. Especially when they've added like muscle and fat onto the skeleton, this looks like a feasible size for the animal. So I love it. There's not much else I can say. I think that they checked all the boxes quite nicely. Oh, and also it's Inostransavia food. Then, my friends, we move on to Surviving Earth, the most recent depiction of Scutosaurus. And much like life on our planet, there's really nothing else I can add to it. It looks phenomenal. And I especially love the colors on this one. It's a really nice sort of greenish yellow coloration that certainly stands out. That with the fact that there's like a contrast in the top of its body that has a darker coloration. It just looks so good. It's bulky, rounded, has huge limbs, incredibly bumpy, covered in osteoderms, cheek structures, lower structures, everything's there. It looks beautiful, no complaints whatsoever. Oh, and it's also Inostransavia food. Then we move on to a little bit of the Jurassic franchise. Not much. It does show up in Jurassic World Alive with a pretty nice design, actually. Like, I think this is pretty solid. Most of the proportions seem to be there. At the very least, it reminds me of Scutosaurus. The limbs are definitely not too skinny. It has overall a more rounded shape, which is pretty in line with the animal, and it is covered in osteoderms. And I also just really love the colors. The inclusion of that blue stripe that goes down the whole length of the body was a very nice touch. Oh, and it looks like it's about to be Inostransavia food right here. Now, to wrap it all up, there's been quite a few Inostransavia toys for the Jurassic franchise, all of which I think look pretty good. Some of them have more reduced cheek structures than other ones with like really long lower jaw structures. But the closer you get to the modern day, the more they refine the shape. And, this orange one right here that was done by Mattel, I believe, that just looks really solid and I quite like it. But I think my favorite figure that they've done for the Jurassic franchise is the Hammond Collection one. The one that I have up here. It's been staring at you guys whenever it could. I think that this is, if it wishes to focus, I might have to use other footage. This figure right here is really solid. All of the proportions seem to match up pretty well. One critique I might have is the fact that those cheek structures are probably not defined enough. But the robustness of the snout looks really good, and the limbs are incredibly huge too. It does seem to have its osteoderms on its back as well, and it has a really nice green coloration. It's probably one of my more favorite Hammond Collection figures. I think all around they captured the likeness of Scutosaurus pretty well. Just look at that out of focus happy face right there. So I really like it, and it's I think it's a solid figure all around. So that is that. Those are the depictions of Scutosaurus in media. Once again, not a lot, but maybe we can see some in the future. With the recent announcement of like all of the Pseudotsuchians that are coming to Jurassic World Evolution 3, maybe that can open the door for other non-dinosaur reptiles, like Pariasaurians, such as Scutosaurus. Maybe we can get like a Permian pack, or maybe that can even extend to non-reptiles, like early non-mammalian synapsids, so we can get like Inostransavia with Scutosaurus so that it can eat it, because that's the only thing that ever happened, I guess, back then. Could we consider that a paleo meme by this point? One of those things that just happens so frequently in media or in art, because you look at Scutosaurus art, and more times than not, they're being hunted or being eaten by Inostransavia. And as you can see right here, that it happened quite frequently in documentaries and other such things. I mean, obviously, it's something that most likely happened, but it happens a lot. It's very frequent to see it happen on screen. And anyway, that's pretty much all I have for this one. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. The next mini interpretations of video will be completely focused on the giant short-faced bear, otherwise known as Arctodus. I am very excited to get to that one, especially after the latest episode of Surviving Earth with that mother Arctodus. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I hope to get it out a little bit quicker than this video right here. But until then, if you guys are interested in, supporting the channel, please consider joining my channel membership. That is a place where you can gain access to some really cool perks depending on which tier you select. Thank you so much to all my channel members who are currently supporting me. You guys are truly amazing. But until next time, thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day.